Raise your hand, we'll answer the question, okay? Number one, design, and board, if y'all have anything to add, jump in at any time. On the design, this is basic design. All of this you see in color is what we definitely have to have in order to have a high school, okay? We have some classrooms in the gym that we can use if we need to. These are classrooms that if we can get these bought, based on how much it costs, we'll cover that in a minute, we would like to add about 4 or 5 more classrooms. That way we wouldn't have to use the classrooms in the gymnasium. That's the goal right there, but the colored part are the ones that we have to have. And if you have any questions about any particular one, I know ag, if we have time, we may take a trip to the ag building. Extremely crowded. You can't hardly walk in the shop. We've made ag a lot bigger, give him a bigger shop, so that will be a plus on the new design. All right. Location, some of you have asked about the location. Right here is 3rd Street, right here is Woodland Heights. We'll put it right on that corner. The cafeteria will be between the new high school and the existing elementary. That way the kids won't have a long walk either way to get to the cafeteria. Y'all come in. I just say, hey, if y'all have a question, ask it at any time, okay? Any questions about this right here? This is the main design. It's about 40,000 square feet, not including the white. The white we're at about 900 square feet per room. This is where it'll sit. Again, Woodland Heights and 3rd Street. Cafeteria will be between the existing elementary and the new high school. The cost, that's a good question. We have somewhere around 50,000 square feet total. Right now, we said $345 per square feet would put the cost at approximately $18 million. As the amount of money we have somewhere between 3.5 and 4.5 that the school has. The board has been very conservative to raise that money for this project. And also we have from the state 5.3 million. That would give you a total of roughly $9 million. So we need somewhere around $8 to $10 more million. And that's where the 7 mills come out. It will generate $8 million. We're hoping that if we get enough money and the project costs less than what we think it'll cost, we can add about 2 to 4 of these classrooms here. That's what we're hoping right now. If not, just the colored part we have to have, without a doubt. And again, location. Timeline, the millage vote will be May the 13th. After it passes, and I do expect it to pass, but after it passes, we'll have about 5 months for the architects to get the final drawings out. That'll put us somewhere in October. Once they do that, they'll give the drawings to the builders. The builders will take about 4 to 6 weeks to get bids, and then they'll start construction. Probably start somewhere around January 2026. Once they start, they say it'll take them somewhere between 16 to 18 months to complete, which would put it at the end of the 26, 27, 28 school year. The need, I will, you'll have to excuse me, I went to Branson, I rode the water rides. The needs, we can take a tour. I'd like to show you the ag building. We'll show you some of the cafeteria, the lunchroom, and then we'll go upstairs and show you some of the classrooms. As of right now, does anyone have any questions about any of this? Lindsay, I can't hear.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't closely look at the plans, but what are the plans for an auditorium?
Auditorium, good question. I'm sorry I didn't cover that. Right here is the cafeteria. All right, total of 10,775 square feet. The auditorium is 1,500 feet that adjoins the cafeteria. That way it'll give you more seating room. That's why we've done that. And then you have a stage area right here. And then you have restrooms on both sides of that. If you want to come up and look at it, you're more welcome to. But it will be attached to the cafeteria, and also this will be a safe room. We're going to build it as an individual room or building, and it will be the safe room for tornado shelter and what have you.
The whole building.
The whole building, yes, yes. So we'll easily get all the kids in that building. And it'll be close, it'll be close to high school and close to elementary.
We'll be able to get K through 12 in that all together at once. In case of a tornado, we'll be able to get all of K through 12 in there if we have to.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have enough time to get pre-K come across.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it, fellas.
Yeah.
I do have one concern about the distance between, the building and the gym.
Yeah.
If there's anything in place, I'm thinking about weather, lots of place for kids to wander, the ditch.
That's a good question. Well, two things. Number one, if we have the money, we'll add these classrooms and they won't have to go to the gym. We still will have to go to the gymnasium for PE classes. We are looking at some type of covered walkway. Whether it's enclosed or not, we're not sure yet. But we are looking at something to protect the kids. If we have to use the gymnasium.
Yeah, that would be one of my concerns as well, as from the safety standpoint of it, having fencing, something covered, that way if
Right.
or somebody that, a stranger can't wander up on campus forever.
Right. The good thing about this plan, all the high school is in one building. Very few exits and entering right here, so they won't have to leave the building to get to one class to another class. So safety reasons, that'll be a big plus.
Could we possibly consider maybe having a smaller gymnasium, kind of like a JV gym as opposed to the existing gym?
Like a practice gym.
Yeah.
Money would be the issue.
We have talked about that, and we would love to do that, but money is going to be the issue. And if it comes in that we can get a bid at $250 a square foot, then that would be a possibility. But if it stays close to where it is, as of right now, that's probably not a possibility. It'd be nice to have.
So the math and science, the science is gonna be in the high school? The science building, they gonna utilize that
Correct.
in the classroom, and then the math that's in the gymnasium won't be in the gymnasium, it'll be in these rooms, right?
If, when we get the final funding and how much it costs, we can add 3 to 4 of these classrooms. All of them classes will be in the new will be in the new high school.
I'll just speak to that. We've talked about, if we have to use the classes in the gym, it's gonna be less traffic classes. It's not gonna be our math, sciences, English. It's not gonna be our cores. It's gonna be classrooms that we use the least. So there won't be as much traffic having to go back and forth. You know, it's gonna be classrooms like our ALE, for instance. You know, those kids, they're not back and forth a lot. They don't travel as much. Or our in-school suspension room will be over there where those kids, they're in the room all day, so they speak.
You ready now?
Will kids get extra time to go through classes if they have to go to the gym?
That's his job, that's right there.
I mean, they're gonna have to. I mean, there's no way around it. It's twice as far from what we have right now, you know.
I came from a big school that had, where we had to walk through different buildings in the elements and stuff, and I was from a school that had a leeway. There's pros and cons on both.
Yeah, I mean, for the logistics, I've walked from our farthest points on this, what we have existing right now, and our furthest points, kind of what that could be, and it's, our day would get a little longer because we'd have to add a little time.
We feel fairly confident that we can get all the classrooms except PE. Not 100% confident, but fairly confident we can.
I had a question on, just kind of an observation more than anything, on the functionality of the stage. Their restroom access, you would, like, just using this as an example, you'd have to walk like you're going up onto the stage to use the restroom. If you're in the middle of a production, that's not necessarily ideal. And the other kind of issue that I observed is there are no changing rooms and there is no access to the stage except from where the audience would be. Just kind of throwing that out there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And that's something we'll certainly have to look at, and something we may have to change. You need to understand, this is not set in stone. It's all going to change somewhat. Definitely change. This is a general idea of how it's going to look. But that's a good point.
There's a lot more money involved to get a final drawing.
Yeah.
So until we get the millage passed, where we know we can build it, the architect can't spend a ton of time getting the final drawing down, you know.
But we would love to know what your priorities are, without a doubt.
Because we can put all that into effect right now, because there is no final drawing.
Right.
Right now is when we can
Yeah.
make adjustments.
Well, oh, go ahead. While I was poking at stuff, the roundabout on the outside, it doesn't look like it connects where likely the school bus pickup drop off would be. Will that be
You talking about here?
down below? Yep. Well, yeah, right there by the circle.
It would be a loop.
It would be a loop. Okay. Cool.
It will be, and again, the parking stuff, what have you, definitely will change.
I'd just like to make a comment that, first of all, for a small town, that's something to be really excited about.
Yeah.
Another thing is the funds that you have, the way the administration, the board has managed the money to put us in this position to be able to do this, I appreciate it. The community needs to know that, because y'all done a really good job to get us in a position where we need to think about things like this, and we need to work hard and let people know about this village and how little. A lot of people take this thing and they don't realize how little it costs to raise the money to do a project like this. Our little town has been outstanding in the past when it comes to a project like this. Anytime if it has to do with kids in school, done an outstanding job. We need to get the word out there and tell people that this is something to be excited about.
Without a doubt, this is a big deal for Rector, without a doubt. And thank you for your comment about the board. They do a great job, without a doubt. On that sheet, may have been pinned down. On this sheet on the bottom, if you're wondering what it might cost you, there's an example of what it might cost you. If you need me to go over that and kind of explain what it means, I'd be more than welcome, or be happy to do that for you. Jody, I think, is wanting to say something.
Yeah, I'll talk for just a little bit and glad to answer some questions too. First, I just want to go into a little bit of background. This is something as a board that we have considered for, I've been on the board now for, when did you start as superintendent? We say 12, 13 years. We're the same year. Over 10 years.
About 14, 15 years.
Okay, I've been on the board 13, 14 years. I know Kirk's the only board member that's been on longer. I know we've been talking about this the entire time that I've been on the board. Kind of planning for the future, but we really kicked into gear last spring. So the state provides money for building projects for school construction. Of course, every school in the state has construction they want to do. So the state comes in, you have to apply and say, I have this project I would like to do. State comes in and looks at your facilities, and then they rank all these projects. And it's been a couple years ago, I think they first ranked us. We were initially turned down, and then they came back.
We were approved, we didn't get the money.
We were approved, but there's not enough money in the pool to fund our project. We were numbers 80 on the list, and they had these 40 they were going to do. They came back, they found the money, some other people declined money, they came back this much, and I think it was May of last year that they gave us the thumbs up. And that's huge, because $5.3 million to fund this school in Rector is coming from state money. So we could not do it without that money. And that's really whenever we kicked in gear, started having more discussion between us and the board, and Mr. Fowler. We went out and found some architects. to start doing these preliminary plans. Interviewed builders, came up with a builder. We've been working with those architects and builders for some number of months now. They do a lot of schools, both the builder and the architect. So I haven't done this before. Mr. Fowler hasn't done this before. But they give a lot of good advice. And so we have questions for them. They have seen these in other school districts. What can we do? What's possible? We have a certain amount of funds. What can you do? So these drawings, I want to stress that again, are very preliminary. We have basically said we have 15 rooms in this school building that will be torn down. And we have 4 rooms in the administration building that we would like to move. And we have 5 rooms in the gym that if we have enough funds, we would like to put in that building. But that's all up in the air. First, interest rates are changing by the day. When this millage passes, and we've had great reception from the community, I really think it will. But we really need, if you're supporting the project, we really need to go out to vote. We need your neighbors to go out to vote, your family, vote for it. That is the next big hurdle. But we don't know what the payments are, so that millage funds bonds. Those bonds will be sold. We don't know how much money we get from that until middle of the summer. So even if millage passes. So that's still a little bit flexible in how much money that pulls in. And that changes daily as interest rates change. Building costs. We mentioned $345. That is the number the builders that are doing other schools have suggested is a realistic number. We're hoping that's on the high side. We hope that comes down a little bit. They just bid I think it was Hoxie. They were doing a pretty big construction project. They have some pretty recent numbers from that Hoxie bid. But until we actually have final designs, we send all this stuff out for bid and actually get the bids back, we don't know the square footage cost. So that's why we have budgeted what we have to have, what we'd like to have, and it's pretty neat too, in the bids, and we're going to do it this way because we would really like 20 rooms, 21, 22. Yeah. We have to bare minimum have 15. They can bid it in 2 different ways. So they sent out a bid package to the electricians and the plumbers and the guys that do the steel and the guys that do the masonry, and they say, you bid this package at this many square feet for whatever you do, and then we're going to bid this package for these additional square feet. That way, when we figure out what the costs are, how much money we have available, the bids are already there, and we can just pick option A or option B. I might be getting long-winded and rambling. Also, being that we're so preliminary, we really need your input. I got a question whether this was going to be broadcast today, somebody that could have made it. Security, I know that's on everybody's mind. The more that we can get rooms into a single building, the more secure it is. We do, and we've talked about that a lot, about having that walkway around there. I think that can get done. You want it covered so kids, when they're walking to the gym, they don't get rained on. You want probably fenced at least on one side so you can't see from the outside. Maybe it doesn't have to be fenced on the inside. The more you do, the more it costs money. So we're going to be looking at that for the next few months. We want to get the most square footage. We want to get everything we need. We want to get the classrooms that we need for our teachers and for our students. That's first priority. Then there's we want the thing to look nice. Obviously, we're going to spend this much money. We want it to look nice. There's going to be a lot of decisions there. How much brick do you use? Do you come up 5 foot, 10 foot? It's really expensive to brick it all the way up. Parking lots I've mentioned earlier, you don't have to pave them right now. If we're really focusing on square footage and getting the right rooms, maybe we do check parking lots for 5 or 10 years. And then when we get a little bit further through the process, get part of our bond money paid off, see the enrollment still stable 10 years from now, we can come back and asphalt there. And there's a few of those things that we can do too, just looking forward. But I really do ask that you give us some input.
Is this gonna be enough?
Is that, excuse me?
Is this gonna be enough, or you think, you don't think our enrollment might increase, or we need to possibly even a little bit bigger, or we,
Good point.
you know?
This is our enrollment's been very stable for the 13, 14 years I've been on the board. The rooms that are colored, we have to have. Very possibly, if we, first priority is to get the rooms out of the administration building. It's the farthest away. Second priority is to move some of those rooms out of the gym. With probably these rooms, we can do all that. If maybe, and these are so fluid, this is 5 rooms built here, they could just do 3 of them. And then maybe they actually could add 1 more room. We'll be looking at that in the coming months, especially as we figure out closer what our building costs are, how much money we know is going to come in. I got lost in my train of thought.
Very likely, there's 2 wings that could be added on. Very likely, we would only need 1.
Yes.
But it would be in the design plan that the other one could be added 20 years from now.
That's what,
We
and
wouldn't run
yes.
sewer, we wouldn't run electric. That area would be set aside for that addition in the future.
Yes, very exactly. And that's why they have put this in there, because you don't want to not plan for the future. And maybe we do need 5 rooms in the future, but you build a big retaining wall here and you put sewer underneath it. And then when you do need these 5 rooms, it costs a whole lot to add on. So excellent question. Yes, sir.
I guess since people will come up with a lot of questions later, is there some sort of form or any way we can submit feedback or questions?
Yes, so we created the Facebook page, which Nate monitors, I guess, the Rector High School Facebook page. We also have that Facebook page for the construction project. I monitor it. I may only look at it once a week or once every 2 weeks. So if you put a question on there and it doesn't get answered immediately, it will. And I'll try to, as we move forward, I'll try to watch that a little bit closer. You can contact me anytime. You can contact Mr. Fowler anytime. We talk often. But yes, please, as you think of questions, you may not think tonight, you may think tomorrow. When you wake up, you may think next week. Or input, questions, suggestions. We're trying to be very open because we don't know all the answers. And we need some help. And we'll may not make the decision that everyone loves. I mean, there's going to be some hard decisions and everybody's not going to agree with everyone, but we'll try to listen to all opinions and make the best decision we can.
One thing about it, people want to see what they're voting for, and they vote that millage, and that's what you're gonna extra dollars with. You ain't got, you're a long way from finding out, but I've seen cases where they just went, we're gonna build a new building, we need some money, it won't work. That's what you have to do, you have to get plans out like you have there where people know what they're gonna get. And you've done a great job with that.
Well, thank you, Mr. Danny. He's been very influential in that. And yeah, I'm proud of that. So this will change a lot. And maybe the names of the rooms will change and which rooms in there. Maybe some square footage of the rooms. But we do think we pretty well have the location of where the school's going to be nailed down. The cafeteria is probably going to be in this general area. But it might be here for some reason, and it may be here for some reason. It actually, in our last set of plans, it was over here. And we asked the architects to move it because it kind of makes more sense to be tied in directly to the elementary school, directly to the high school. Parking lots certainly can change shape and location. We even have a little bit of property right over here that may be some parking. I will say with the state guidelines, we're taking $5.2 million of state money. There are certain things that they require. Certain rooms have to be a certain size. and we have to kind of defer to the architects because they work with those people at the State Department all the time, and they know those regulations better than we do. But there are some things that they cannot change within the guidelines based on us taking that state money.
Will the cafeteria be connected to both buildings, or is it have to go outside to access it?
That hadn't been determined at the time.
It hasn't been determined. I don't think it'd be hard to connect, but I don't know what we've decided yet.
We have not. That's something, and I'm taking notes too. Y'all ask questions, I'm taking notes. So, just quickly, I don't know, and we don't know this, you know, if this loops around, it's not gonna be able to be connected. If we can make the, if we do want it connected, and maybe covered walkways or whatever, which would be nice, kids coming in and out, we may not be able to loop this around. And that's something we'll kind of defer to the architects too, you know. It's kind of what we say. These questions have come up, we have these concerns, we would like to do this. What can you do within these drawings to make this work and to make it work at an affordable price?
Yes. With my current teaching schedule, I do have students that traverse from the elementary school to the high school for music lessons. Will there be a way for them to do the same for the high school?
I would say,
If they leave elementary
The elementary and go to the high
and
school.
go high school, I would say if we connect the lunchroom, then definitely there will be a way. And over between the lunchroom and the high school, we may do like we did back there behind the elementary. You know, put a big tall awning to where big trucks can get under it. So we can still have that loop around there.
Okay.
And have that over the top.
yeah, so that's a really good question. That's something I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
that we need to address.
Yeah, because depending on the loop, you know, trucks still gotta be able to get into the cafeteria.
Right.
Yeah, I know we need truck access, things like that, but falling back to the law enforcement, security side of it, I would like to have some kind of controlled access gates there where we can go out there and slide it open, let the truck in, just so random cars are not driving through our campus. That's the-
I think that will be.
It's good, I hadn't thought about that though.
And then all the classes that I've been going through and learning, they're talking about, just completely, almost completely blocking off your campus to where outside foot traffic, outside vehicle traffic, things like that, can't just wander through your campus, they have to come in through a central, access point, things like that, all the signs that says everybody must go to the office, things like that, that way we know who's where, who's coming on our campus, things like that, and just not driving through there or somebody kind of walking across the ditch and coming upstairs and start knocking on doors and we've had people all over the place and y'all probably seen more people than I have in here, y'all can. That's my biggest concern there, just the safety and security side of it.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. And I got a question about the security also. That's another, somebody had contacted that page on Facebook Messenger and sent. You can post it for everybody to see, or if you have a private question you want to ask me, you can do it on Facebook Messenger and I'll get it. But they were asking about security, they were asking also about the cameras in the building. Give Mr. Fowler credit, they put a camera system in high school, I know nothing about it, but I think it's reasonably good. We do intend to have cameras in the new building. When they did the existing cameras here, they can be moved. So actually we'll use those cameras in the new building. Now, there's probably not enough of them, but that system can be added on to. And that's something we've talked about some. Sure, Justin will have a lot of input on that. Where cameras need to be facing, what areas need to be focused on. But that's something, and I guess I just want everybody to know that's something that has been on our minds a lot over is the security on campus. Yes, ma'am.
I've been privileged to sit in on some of the council school board meetings, and I have seen how seriously this building has, funding, et cetera, been taken. And one of the things that they have said within the parameter is that with this amount of money, let's not get down the road and decide, oh, for just a little bit more, we could have done this. And my priority is an auditorium and a stage. But I know that is, under consideration and it has to do with money. And I wish we could say, okay, we want to give you tons and tons of money, let's do everything.
I'm glad you said that, and that's something, I mean, Kirk's a huge booster of drama, has been. We've had these discussions forever. We do want some auditorium area. The state does require some auditorium area. We do not have enough money, no way, to build a standalone auditorium. That's another $3, $4, $5, $6 million. So we're most likely, and where the bathrooms and the changing areas on stage they can all be changed, and we do need some input on that. But most likely we are going to have an auditorium combined into a cafeteria, very similar to what we have here, except hopefully designed a little bit more user-friendly and new. And hopefully we can get those changing areas where they're more practical bathrooms. So that does allow us to have an auditorium, which we do want. It's not going to be as nice as Jonesboro High School that has maybe the money to have a standalone auditorium. But I think it'll be very nice and usable. We're going to try to make it as nice and usable as possible.
And I saw there's a band room, there's an art room, so I would wonder what other arts type things we'd like to that, such as a drama room. I don't know how that works out.
I don't know.
Music, what?
Music, drama's something we're looking at.
We're working on drama.
We don't have a standalone drama department now, and we have in the past. If we do it sometime, that would need to have a room for a teacher where she can do classes and also have some access to the stage area. So good point.
I noticed that, like, the band, instrumental music, what about choral music, you know, all of that, I may have just overlooked that.
We're not, I guess what you're asking, we're not adding, to the best of my knowledge, and Mr. Fowler and Mr. Henderson have better, we're not adding any programs at this time. We're trying to replace the square footage used by our existing programs.
We have
Yeah.
choral program, we have vocal.
Yeah, we'll still have that.
Well, if they're housed in and I don't even know what programs we do, if they are housed in a room in the current high school, they will have space in the new high school, yes.
We're not cutting any fine arts.
No. Any other questions? Do y'all want to say anything, Kirk?
I was gonna say, you know, it's not on that, how much, we've got public in the ground behind it, it's not showing up on that property, just, you know. Speaking of safety, you know, we're gonna have, we bought a lot of that ground behind the school. I don't know if most people even know that.
Yeah, and that's something, good point, something that we really got busy doing when we got approved for the state, or actually were given the money, allocated the money from the state, is we got to find somewhere to put this thing. And we're kind of landlocked, but this area which is 3rd Street and Woodlawn, we had already purchased 2 or 3 or 4 couple of properties before that, and then we purchased the last 3 properties to fill out this block, last 4 properties, because we also bought this area here, over the summer and the fall. And we're pretty pleased with the location there.
The ditch, is there any way we can cover that ditch?
The ditch.
You know, I can close it, so.
So there is a ditch on the east side, so we bought this property maybe parking is gonna have to have, if the ditch isn't covered, have to have a walkway. Realistically, probably not. I mean, you can tile it, but they're giving us 10 to 15 inches rain over the next 4 days. You can't put a tile in on Crowley's Ridge to handle that. So you're probably better off having the open ditch. We just won't, the grade comes up pretty close. We just won't have any permanent structures close within the floodplain of that ditch. Yes, sir.
I guess another thing is, our sports teams, like our football team, they have their morning practices. Is there a consideration of maybe having a practice field closer to the high school location?
That's probably something we hadn't thought about. I'll defer to Mr. Henderson. I'm going to assume high school, they're probably going to have to drive from the practice field to the high school if they practice before school. Would that be your best guess?
They're not gonna move, there's not room for another practice field.
There's not room for a practice field. Being that, and it may look like there's some room in places, we've got parking, we're probably gonna be covering up a little bit of the elementary playground in places, so we're gonna have to figure out where in these areas, if we do have to move part of the playground or something, we could put. I would assume, just because they have a good area now, that the football practice field's probably gonna stay where it's at.
But on Justin, I like moving the cafeteria where we moved it, because it does kind of secure the playground on that side of the elementary. You kind of position yourself, and you box everything in.
I see where it was before, when y'all was talking about doing one of those on the other side, that doesn't make sense, but on that end, you can connect it, and it plus gives that, fencing on the other side.
Yeah, we really think, and I think the architects even have it, they don't have it drawn out, highlighted. I think this is their walkway right here. So that there's gonna have to be some type of walkway from this area to get to the gymnasium. But now exactly how that's designed yet, we do want it secure, we do want it walled off at least on one side and covered. Because there's no way for us not to be moving students back and forth. We're gonna try to minimize it as much as possible. I'll say another thing, high school practice football, I'm probably not gonna worry about that because you got a bunch of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that their coaches are probably gonna want them to run back to the high school at the end of their practice. Yes, ma'am. The property, when you cross the railroad tracks on the right, is the most likely spot. We hadn't set that in stone, isn't that right?
The bus shop?
Mhm.
Yeah, coming in on the right, going out on the left.
Not the tracks, not the little lot.
Thank you.
The big lot with the.
Where the old gym was.
Where the old gym, yeah, right on.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you about parking the bus over there. Borrow some of your driveway.
Jamie, Mike, Chase, Kirk. Any other questions? I'm excited. I am. And I really want to thank Mr. Fowler. He has spent way more time than I have on this. We'll spend a lot of time going forwards, but he's put a lot of time and effort and needs to be congratulated, because I really do. I feel good. I feel Rector's very good at sport. Villages in the past have passed overwhelmingly. Very close-knit community, and the school's kind of at the center of that community. And our school's building is now 50 years old. And our other facilities are nice. I mean, our elementary school looks nice, our gymnasium looks nice. Preschool looks very nice and been successful. We're gonna have to figure out, we have more kids wanting to get in preschool than can fit in that building, and that's something that's on our mind. and something we may be able to help a little bit depending on what we determine are our final needs and final money available. Yes, sir.
Is there still a discussion on, bringing pre-K over here?
It's possible, it's something we have thought about. As we have thought about it, it becomes more complicated. There's not bathroom facilities in the administration. So we had talked, some of y'all know this or not, we've talked about moving the preschool all or part into the administration building if we no longer use those rooms for high school. And it's not off the table, but we're gonna either have to look at that because we're gonna have to spend quite a bit of money making it up to standards for preschool. The other option's probably gonna be to extend the preschool out to the south and add a couple more rooms there. Then we've got to figure out where the playground is because we're gonna take that playground in. So something on our mind, I don't know the answer yet. Any other questions? I'm gonna hand it back to Mr. Fowler, but yeah, feel free, ask him, ask me, contact us on Facebook, because we need some help. And we'll do, we really didn't know if there were gonna be 2 people here or 50. I'm glad we had some turnout. We'll do another one of these meetings, I would assume before the millage election. Especially the more interest we have, the more like, I mean, we can do all y'all want us to do. We're glad to come, and we need the feedback. So we'll try to schedule at least one more. But do comment, suggest, not now. If you wake up in the morning with a suggestion or a thought, please contact us, and because we've still got a lot of planning going forward. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Fowler.
Thank you, Jody. I do have, if you want me to show you around some of the problems we have and what have you, and maybe the reasons we think we need a new high school, I'll be happy to do so. Before I do that, I would like to say I think most people here are probably for the millage. It's great to be for the millage, but it's totally something else to go vote. So be sure and go vote for the millage on May the 13th, and be sure and tell anybody you know that we need a new high school and they need to go vote for the millage on May the 13th. Now, is anyone wanting to take the little tour and I'll show you a few things, or y'all are fairly happy just the way it is? I'm happy the way it is.